get comfortable, because here we go.
Hi, I'm Jen Soska. And I'm Sylvia Soska. And we're the Soska Sisters. And this is Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie!
Indie Horror Junkie.
Indie Horror Junkie.
Indie Horror Junkie.
Indie Horror Junkie.
We're a panic attack.
Indie Horror Junkie!
Woo! Indie Horror Junkies.
Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie!
Hey, there we are.
What's up, Junkies?
How you doing? I messed up a little bit. I think I missed the first couple seconds of the opening, so I
I don't know what
promise.
you're talking about. Look good to me. Happy Wednesday, Rick.
There we go. But next week I'll get it right on time. All right. Well, I will let you catch us up and catch everybody up on some of the stuff we've got going on before we introduce our guests for the evening. So if you want to take it away.
Yeah, welcome to the show, you guys. Another Wednesday here with the Junkies. We're on episode 64, which is hard to believe. We were just talking to our guests backstage and like, how long have you guys been doing this? And it seems like forever, but we really love coming on the show every single Wednesday and bringing on all the guests, sharing with you everything indie horror, what's going on in the underground scene, because there's so much good stuff and there's so much going on, and we just want to share it and connect everybody. And you know, it's always a good time on Wednesday. So what do we got going on? We currently have issue number 12 of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine available in both digital and print. I have a copy right here, fresh off the press. We have Stream on the cover.
There you go.
So we love our buddies over at Fuzz on the Lines, and we love them so much that we decided for the December issue we bring out Terrifier on the cover. So issue number 13 features Terrifier 3, also brought by the production company Fuzz on the Lens, the creator Damian Leone. We're huge fans of the franchise, which started back in 2013. So thank you, Phil Falcone, for working with us on this article. We wanted to get it just right. We wanted to give you all the details behind the scenes on this incredible franchise and what they've been able to do in the indie horror realm and completely piss off Hollywood. We love it so much. So congratulations to everybody. And this issue, again, digital and print copies will be available to you on the 13th, but they are available for pre-sale now. So head over to the website to get this issue and all back issues on indiehorrorjunkie.com.
And is that not the perfect Christmassy cover?
I mean, it doesn't get more Christmassy than that.
It is the season.
And actually, they just made a big announcement today that December 24th and 25th, they are headed back to theaters. So if you guys didn't get a chance to see their theatrical release, not only can you now watch it home on your streaming services, but you can go back to theaters and catch it on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So what better way to spend the holidays? We also just closed our submissions for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival. So thank you all that submitted all of your indie horror short films, feature films. We are going to head back to Orlando to MegaCon in February. We're going to be there on February 7th, 8th, and 9th. So we have 3 days of back-to-back films. We have panels, Q&As with some of the creators of these films. We had some fun last year, so we can't wait to do it again this year. So we're going to have some movie premieres in addition to what we are screening for the film submissions. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys are in the Orlando area or if you just want to make your way down, Junkies are going to be there. So come check it out. Speaking of events, the Junkies will be at Sir Henry's Haunted Trail again. We're back at it. You can't keep us away. Those are our friends over in Plant City, Florida. They are one of the top haunts in Florida. They have yourself a scary little Christmas coming to you on December 6th, 7th, 13th, 14th, and 15th. So make sure you get your tickets online. They have to be purchased online because they sell out. They have 2 haunted trails, 2 haunted trails, a haunted Christmas hayride, an escape game, and laser tag. They always have the best merch, the best vendors, the best food. So come check it out. Here's some of their scare actors. They always go above and beyond with their houses and their actors. It's super immersive, and we can't keep ourselves away. We go to the Halloween, we go to the Christmas, and they're going to have a Valentine's coming up in February. So be on the lookout for that. And aside of all this, we just got done filming an indie horror junkie production. Our indie horror junkie hookup, the short film, The Turning. Writer Rick Danford, his take on zombie horror. So we had the pleasure of co-directing and co-producing this project together. Incredible cast, incredible crew. We honestly can't say enough. They exceeded our expectations. We got to film this with some of the best here in Tampa. Thank you, Mr. Dog Poop Studios, our executive producer, for allowing us to basically take over his entire property that you see there. We had tons of zombie extras, intense shots, and I said it once, I'll say it again. With that first shot, we knew we had something special. So here's some of our actors and crew doing their thing. Really excited to share this with you guys. If you are going to be at MegaCon in February, we're going to be premiering this film there. So you can come hang out with us, watch the movie in person. We're going to have the cast and crew there as well. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I have you do it, because you do it so speedy and so quick, so we don't keep our guests waiting. So do you want to go ahead and introduce the trailer that we're about to show for them?
I do. We want to introduce our friends with Choke Film. We have been anxiously waiting to have them on our show. We rescheduled them from the hurricane. We finally got them back. So we have both co-directors Brad Huffman and Zach Pike, along with their lead actress, Jessica Lynn Buck. And this is a film that we're waiting to see. It's going to be available next year on Blu-ray and digital. But for tonight, we have their trailers. So let's go ahead and show that before we bring them on.
All right, here we go.
We help keep whatever it is out there at bay. Satan, the boogeyman, the devil, evil.
Everywhere. Oh my God, Annie, those flowers were so beautiful.
Do you think I'm crazy?
I have to be quiet. There's a man in my house.
All right, let's bring on our guests.
Welcome, you guys, Zach, Brad, and Jessica. Thank you for joining the show. I have to say, I love the score of your film. I actually, today when I was watching the trailer, I played it back a couple times because I'm a big fan of like the atmosphere and music within the film, because as we all know, it creates such a huge part of it. But I don't know who you used to score your film, but I'm going to have to
This guy right here, Brad.
Oh, Brad. Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
Putting you on file. It's just very intense. Yeah.
I always wanted an 80s aesthetic to it.
I'm a huge
just
80s fan.
the pacing of it. I don't know how to describe it. It's just it just hit the first time I listened to it. I was like, all right, okay, here we go.
I really appreciate Thank
Yeah,
you.
welcome to the show. Thank you guys so much for making the time to come on. We want to talk about your indie horror feature film, Choke. So Zach and Brad, you guys are the co-directors. Jessica is the lead actress in the film. So tell us about this project. Tell us about the premise. Tell us about the story that you guys are telling with this film.
Sure. So this is about a 911 dispatcher played by Jessica, and her name is Leanne. And working at the dispatch center, she gets a call from somebody beyond the grave. And this kind of leads her on this journey to find this evil that's kind of stalking this small podunk town of Oaktown. And we kind of just travel along with her, and some crazy stuff happens.
All right. A call beyond the grave. You had
I
me
love that. That's
right
a
there
cool
with that. And this is just something in your twisted mind that you came up with, Zach?
Yeah, I had come up with the premise, and I approached Brad about it. We reconnected after years of not talking with one another, and we just kind of hit it off, came up with this story kind of back and forth together. I wrote the story, or I wrote the screenplay for it, and then we just kind of co-directed it together. And yeah, here we are.
And there you have it, kids. Indie horror brings people together. Which is true. It's true. And Jessica, how did you get involved in this film? And tell us a little bit about your character and your experience.
Yeah, so I stepped away from acting for a while I just lived life, and I recently got back into it about a year ago. And it was actually the first feature I submitted for. And I remember the next day I started getting a Cincinnati call because I'm from Cleveland, and I was like, oh my goodness, could this be? Like, I don't know. I'm just freaking out. And it was Zach, and he was like, hey, we just really loved your audition. And we want you to be Leanne. And it's been a long, wonderful journey since then, with lots of very long nights that it'll probably be the most memorable film experience I ever have in my life.
Oh, hear that.
Yes, it was. One, Zach and Brad are incredible. They truly, I always say it, but they feel like family to me. And I remember reading the script for my audition, and I don't know, I thought there was something so cool about it, so unique, not something that you see a lot in kind of like the thriller horror genre. So I was really excited about it. So when I did get the part, I really wanted to just give it my all and make it very mysterious and opposite kind of like of who I am as a person. I'm a very, bubbly and energetic person. And I think that hopefully people will see Leanne as very mysterious and kind of wonder what's going on. And if, she's who, I won't say too much about her, but she's she's an interesting character.
Well, it sounds like you landed a role that you got to showcase your range. Hey, Howard, which is a dream for an actress. You always want to be able to push the limit. Hey, Jack, and kind of be something that you're not every day. That's the fun and joy of being an actress. So you said you guys had some long nights. Were these mostly night shoots?
Yes. Yeah, I would say majority. And
because that's challenging. I've done that. Rick, you've done it. When you're filming a bunch of nights in a row, like you kind of start to get screwed up in the middle of the night because it's opposite of your normal clockwork.
Yeah.
And then by the time you adjust to it, then you got to go home and do real life again. And then you're screwed up for another week. So we did that with an indie horror feature film, The End, last year that we shot. We shot 10 days in a row. We had one day off, and it was all night shoots. And you start to feel it. You start to get woo.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's important to say too, this was our first feature, and it was supposed to be a short. Or under an hour and a half. We didn't know it was going to be a feature until it got in the editing bay, and it ended up being that way.
Pretty cool.
So we were, I think, every step of the way underestimated every single part of this process, from the casting to the writing of it, and then the night shoots. I was like, oh, this will be easy, and they just kicked our butts.
Well, it sounds like you got a ton of great coverage.
What started off as a day shoot turned into a night shoot.
So, you know how that goes.
Yeah. And I think too, one of the interesting parts is my character has a lot of scenes alone. And so it would just be like me, Zach, Brad, and, one other, whether it was Jess or, it was a very small group, and it's like 3:00 in the morning. We're all just so beat, and it was a crazy experience. But I think that's why we ended up feeling so close knit, and was such a great experience because we were going through those moments together, and having that tight knit small group was really fun, and but challenging, definitely challenging. Like you said, and I was driving from Cleveland every time we were filming, so I was driving 4.5 hours filming overnight, and then I would spend the night. I had to go work my part-time job back at home, so I'd drive back, and then the weekend I'd drive back, and so there was a lot of moving parts. When we watched the film for the premiere, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember filming that. I don't
I mean, welcome to the world of indie horror filmmaking, or indie filmmaking in general, because most people do have their 9 to 5s and they're working and they have their normal schedule and their families and their life, and then you're just squeezing this in.
Yes,
you get the part, and that is the life. You have to commute, you have to travel, you have to show up, and then you got to go back. So hats off to you. We've all been there, done that. It's not easy, but when you're driven and you're passionate about it, which it sounds like you're very passionate about your role, it sounds really, really cool. I love that you got to do a lot of scenes by yourself. I can see how that incorporates into the film. That had to have been really different to not have a scene partner, and you're just having those moments with yourself. But it sounds like a really fun set experience.
Yeah, it was great.
A question I always have: what's the indie scene like in Ohio, as far as the indie filmmaking scene? What's it like up there? Is there a robust scene going on, or is it pretty? What's it like up there?
Yeah, it's crazier than I thought. More, involved more people than I thought. For instance, when we did this casting call, I told Brad, I said, when we get these 10 people total that reach out, if anybody, we went on Facebook groups and stuff and try to find people in Ohio around us to do this. We'll choose from those 10. Within 24 hours, it was over 100 people that were interested in the project, and we were like, we were overwhelmed and kind of.
Well, you guys have Horror Hound out there, right? Don't you guys have that big Horror Hound? So I know Robin Nilsson, who I'm not sure if I mentioned on the show. I know we mentioned backstage with Horror Pop After Midnight. He's who introduced us to you guys because he interviewed you, and he's done nothing but praise the film. I know he went to the premiere, but I mean, he goes to all the conventions. So I know that's one that he likes to go to. So yeah, like I would think that you guys have a pretty big horror community out there, but it's cool when you finally find it.
Yeah, it was really cool to see the response.
Excellent. So I got some pictures here that you guys had sent me. What I want to do is bring them up. You kind of let us know what they're about so we can inform the audience of what's going on. I think the first couple of them I have here looks like you've got like 3 different posters.
Yeah. So these were posters that we actually sold. We did a private premiere and a public premiere. And we kind of did a very low-key kind of smaller premiere during a festival we had in town in Hamilton, Ohio. But this was one of them, And then there's the 70s poster was the first one you showed, and then this is the 80s poster.
That. Okay, so not to give away any details of the film, but what is going on here? We know that there's a call from the grave, but what are we looking at?
We're seeing Leanne interact with a tree. That's all I want to say.
As far as we can go. Okay, I can respect that. I can totally respect that.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
I was going to say, what was behind the scenes?
That wasn't one of the posters.
I love the 80s throwback posters. Was that somebody that you found through social media? Was it somebody that you knew who created that poster? That's always a fun aspect of filmmaking to me, is like having the poster made.
Yeah. Brad, I don't know if you want to take that on.
Yeah, Adam Blackwell was the person that did the art for the tree and Leanne, and then me and Zach then took that and kind of did our own alterations of it. And he went more toward the 70s. And of course, I went more towards the 80s. And we couldn't decide on the posters. So then we're just like, let's just do a bunch of them. So we have 5 or 6.
Yeah, we have
nothing wrong with that. Okay. This reminds that poster right there of you, Jessica. I forget the name of the movie, but Halle Berry plays.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she's a 911 call or something.
A 911 dispatcher, and as soon as I saw this, I was like, "Oh, she's Halle Berry." That's what it reminded me of. I'm sorry, I can't think of the name of the movie, but I've seen it. And it was an intense thriller. It's I love anything that she does. She tends to do good in thrillers.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She actually. Yeah, I need to see more of her. But that was a great picture of you. That's a great poster for you guys to use. for sure. So, oh, here we got some more BTS.
Yeah, that was one of the long days. We were inside of the office location, the dispatch location, which was kind of course, our main location. So here's us just trying to figure out the shot here.
Is that you, Brad? The camera?
Do what?
Is that you, Brad, behind the camera there?
He's checking it out, but I did DP.
Well, no. I'm just the reason I pointed that out is because I definitely wanted to give a shout out there to you, Brad, for the Jaws shirt. I'm a huge Jaws fanatic.
One of Rick's favorite.
Way to represent, my friend.
His entire guest bathroom is decked out with Jaws.
My entire bathroom is all Jaws.
So if you ever come visit,
My bathroom is all Jaws.
Is it really?
There you go.
It's a Jaws themed bathroom.
Oh, I love it. All right. Here's some other pictures.
A lot more than just co-direct. You're writers, you're co-directors. It sounds like you're the producers of this film. You guys are DPing. You're doing the score. Did you edit?
Yeah, so I DP'd,
you did everything.
Wrote, co-directed, and then I edited the film. But we all wore many hats. I think we had some of the actors with lights at some point. We were,
hey,
I mean, this was a shoestring budget at times, and it's just, we were really, again, underestimated. How many people do you need on set? I don't know. I've always just done this small, low key with friends. So that was something that a lot of us chipped in and did stuff here and there to make it work.
And that's why it was such a family environment, because you got people pitching in and just doing what needs to get done. Everybody feels included, and that is how you get it done. We've all been there.
Right.
Well, here's some more pictures for you. Let us know what's going on here.
Yeah, so that is one of our favorite pictures. That is Matt Hudson, who plays the boss in the dispatch center. He is eating a jelly bean right there. You'll know more once you see the film, but
Rosabelle doesn't look so happy, does she?
And how was it finding locations? Did you call in a favor? Did you know somebody? Did you have to, spend some time looking around till you found the right spot? How did that work out for you guys?
So this main dispatch center you're seeing right here was pretty much almost killed the film before it began, because we had a location lined up. We were pretty good to go. We were moving on to other things before production began, and heard that it was not going to happen. I had to go out and I own my own business, so I had to kind of take off time to go look around for another location. Found that, sounded great. Got the budget back. It was well above what it was we thought they were kind of hinting towards, and that kind of killed it. So luckily, we had somebody in town named David Stark. He's really involved here in Hamilton, Ohio, and he helped us link up with the right people. And we got a building that was used by a telemarketing firm here in town, and they had left since COVID. And after COVID, they kind of just left this place kind of abandoned. They hadn't re-entered it. They were doing everything online. And that's what you see here is we were able to come in and kind of just use this whole floor. And this was our primary location on that floor.
And I would say besides the challenges of making a film, the budget, the financing is always the hardest part, but locations can be tricky too. So
yes.
What do we got going on here?
What is that?
Says the hitching post.
Yes. So this is one of our. I'll just say this is one of our B-roll shots of the town of Oaktown. So around here in Ohio, when I travel for my work, there's some weird looking locations and kind of just creepy looking things. So before this film was even a thought in my mind, I kind of always said I'm going to put that in a movie one day, because they're just so odd. Some of these
random
places in rural Ohio. So this was one of those places that kind of stood out when me and Brad were driving around, or I'd seen before. So this is one of those.
Yeah,
so.
There's a lot of that down here in Florida. I don't know if you guys have seen that series Florida Man, but
yeah,
definitely check that out.
This here, I don't want to go too much into spoiler stuff, but she's looking at some notes or something back there. I don't know what that is quite yet. But this was we got really lucky at this location.
Yeah.
This is a school, and this was another huge location win for us. But yeah, we got very lucky. Other than that first one, that main location, that we were really blessed to get a lot of these places. So
very cool.
Back in the dispatch center, and there's a lot of emotions here.
I can see.
You'll have to see the film to see what they're looking at. Don't want to spoil that either.
Okay.
But
So this isn't a BTS shot. This is an actual still.
this is a still from the.
Oh, okay. I thought it was everybody just doing like
everybody just staring at me, looking
off
weird.
wall office shot. But this, yeah, that's pretty cool. If that's a still, I like that.
This is a still. This is some of our police officers in the film. The person in the back, Paul Kunkel, who plays one of the officers, man, he was pivotal in getting the police gear and stuff for this film, and we had showed it to some.
Pretty legit.
Yeah, we showed it actually to a producer in Cincinnati, and they had said that they had seen a lot of films, but they said that they had never seen like police stuff to this level of our budget, and it's thanks to him. Like we were totally in over our head thinking we could just get some police in our film, and they made it look amazing. They were
it also helped too that he was a real police officer.
Yes, yes, yeah, that helps too. But they were awesome. Everybody was awesome.
I would agree. When I first saw that show, I was like, "Dang, that looks real."
This is, I think this is a shot also that's in the trailer. But yeah, we're at a local park here. And some stuff kind of goes awry. I don't know.
I love this shot.
This is Larry, played by Andrew Gordon.
Very Wolf of Wall Street shot right there.
And he is, and we'll maybe talk about this maybe later, but we were extremely influenced by Twin Peaks, and Larry is kind of our comedic relief in the film.
Nice. And then from the poster?
That's from the shot from the poster too, but she's getting a call. Something's not good. Something's up. Something's up.
So how long did you guys film this? Was it a continuous shoot? Was it over several different weekends, several different months? How did this work out timeline wise?
Yeah, we started at the end of July. And then we went all the way until like September, and then had to come back and do some pickup shoots all the way into November. But they were mostly on weekends. We shot some of that main stuff over the week, like continuously, because there was so much that we could knock out that main location. But yeah, mostly on weekends when we could all get the scheduling to do it. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, scheduling is another thing.
And you said this was planned originally to be a short and just kind of turned into a feature?
Yeah, we kind of always, it's funny because it started off as like 15-minute short film. And then when me and Zach got together, we're both a little crazy. And when he gives me ideas, I then bounce things right back at him. And then it turned into, oh, well, maybe we'll do a 30-minute film. I think we can, because we just kept expanding ideas. And like you said, next thing you know, it turned into an hour and 30-something minutes.
Like the same issues the two junkies up here have.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Pinging off of each other, and you have that connection, and you can see it, then it just grows and grows and grows. And then the next thing you know, you go from 15 minutes to what's the runtime on it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jessica shows up on set for a 15-minute short. And it's like, what?
well, all the actors did think we were really adamant that it was going to be 45-minute max. We were really adamant on that. And Jessica and Matt were the first to know when we were doing one of those last pickup shoots. I was editing the thing, and as I was getting closer, I was like, oh no, as I was getting these scenes together, I was like, it's going to be an hour and a half. Is this too long? Or, are we indulging too much in ourselves?
Great.
And I was kind of scared until we started showing, private screenings. People were like, no, this is a good length. But I told Jessica and Matt, and I was expecting them to be like, what did we sign up for? But they were excited from an actor side. It's like, we got a freaking feature out of this. So
it is exciting for an actor, and it should definitely be exciting for you guys too. And that, in my opinion, just goes to show that you had a really solid idea, and it kind of escalated, which isn't always a bad thing. It sounds like it took on a life of its own. So I hope that really pays off for you guys. I'm personally excited to see it. So this is your first feature film short turned into feature film. Do you have the bug now? Do you have the same mental illness that we do, or do you see yourselves continuing on with other film projects in the near future? Do you just need to take a break and breathe? You already got something in the works. What's going on with you?
And in fairness to you guys, I don't think anybody out there is quite as insane as Amy as I, because we're on set pitching other movies and stuff like that and getting ready for so it never stops. So feel free to say that no, we're not quite as bad as you guys, but we do plan to do
We're
some.
also a support group, so.
Yeah, there you go.
I was about to say your name is Asylum Amy too.
Yeah, I live up to it every day. Just ask Rick.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, both me and Brad also, we have some projects we want to knock out in the future, but I think I want to speak for all three of us. I think I don't know. Jessica was acting in something else recently, but for us, me and Brad, we were taking a break.
We're still in break mode for now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now just out of curiosity for this particular film, obviously I haven't seen it, but is there any type of a follow-up that you were looking for, or do you pretty much feel that this is you got what you got and that's all you're planning on for this particular film?
You want to take that, Brad?
Well, I haven't seen it, so I don't know the premise. I don't know if there's something that could play into a sequel or if this is just a one-shot kind of thing.
We said, it was always intended to be a one-shot thing. But I don't think we've completely closed the door. I don't think it would be anytime soon, obviously. It'd be years down the road. But yeah, for now it's a standalone, but I think, who knows, something could happen in the future. I'm not trying to be vague. It's just even me and Zach haven't talked this through yet.
Some people we've talked to on the phone and about their film, and they're like, oh no, this was planned as a trilogy, or we already have ideas coming up for a follow-up, so they go into it with them.
Just in case.
Absolutely. Yeah. So Jessica, just be careful when you get that next call. Hey, we got
any Cincinnati phone numbers.
Right. Now, Jessica, was this the first time you dipped your toes as an actress into the horror genre?
Yes. Yeah. So that was my first thriller horror. I kind of just mainly did some short films. I did a lot of commercial stuff leading up to that. So it was my first feature, my first horror, and I did love it. It was a lot of fun. I feel like it was very challenging. And actually the film that I just got done filming ended up being another thriller. So my grandma keeps being like, do a comedy, do something I want to watch.
So do you consider yourself a member of the dark side now, or are you ready to go back to the light?
I think I really like the dark. I do. I like thriller. I think that
it's challenging as an actress. You have to really go deep into that character and their backstory and what you're fighting for and all those emotions and subtext to deliver the story, especially with a role like this where you're essentially in scenes by yourself. You have to show everything that you're thinking.
Yes.
So I personally find that exciting, but do you see yourself continuing, being more involved in the horror genre, you think?
I do, absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that part of the reason I love film so much versus like commercial acting and other things is because I love being another person. I love getting into that character. I love finding a new mindset, kind of understanding backstory, creating my own character. There's a script, but you still have to build that character up and make someone else want to watch you be that character. And I think it's important to love your character, and the whole process of reading the script and building, I think, is so interesting, which is why film is awesome. And I think with thriller and horror genres, you get that so much more. It's not just like, oh, we're going to make people laugh. Which that's important too. I love comedy. I love things like that. But
you gotta do a horror comedy.
Yeah. Yes. But I would love to keep doing like thriller horror films. I think it's such a fun genre. My dog agrees.
Your dog agrees.
Your dog agrees.
Guess what?
Very, very cool. Well, welcome officially to the dark side.
Yes. I have a question for Zach. Zach, you said you wrote this, right?
Yes. So story was me and Brad, and then I wrote the screenplay. Yeah.
Okay. What was your inspiration for this? Was this just an idea you just came up with random, or how did this all work out?
So this actually came to me in the middle of the night. It was like 2:00 in the morning.
There you go.
I had I turn over on my phone, and sometimes I'll write ideals. The next morning I'll go, that was stupid, or that was cool. Mm-hmm. And this was something back in 2021 I wrote down, and the next day I looked at it and I was like, all it said was 911 dispatcher gets a call from beyond the grave. That's all I had. And I told friends about it. I was like, here's a premise. And they were like, you need to pursue that. And that wasn't until 2022. I just sat on it for a year. When I reconnected with Brad, he wanted me to kind of shoot a music video. He's really involved in music. He wanted me to shoot a music video for him. I said, yeah, I'll do that for free. Let's just check it out. That'd be a fun project. He got off the phone with me, and I know he's way, way into horror more than I am even. And I got off the phone with him, and I knew this was kind of more of a horror, kind of scary elements to it. And I was like, dang it, I should have told him about this. 5 minutes go by. He calls back, says, I know I mentioned that music video. What if we made a movie together? And then
come on. I love that.
the rest is history. So.
And do you guys, okay, so Brad, you have a filmmaker background. You're in the music industry working on all of that. Zach, is this your background as well? Or are you just a writer by nature? Or are you a filmmaker by nature? How did you get into this?
So I would just make goofy YouTube videos with Brad back in high school and other friends. We would just make these goofy YouTube skits, and I just loved it. I adored like making these little funny little comedy bits and things like that. And that's kind of my job now. I own a videography studio shooting weddings and commercials and stuff. So
Amazing.
I still kind of connected that, but I still always wanted to get back into, making an actual short film, something even longer. And that's where this kind of came along. And it was my first feature, of course. And also working with professional actors like Jessica and others and stuff. This was all brand new territory.
Right.
For going that length with it.
Do you guys know this guy here, David?
Yeah. So David.
Hi, David.
David played David Solberger played Bert in the film. But yeah, he did amazing as well. All the cast we felt like we hit the lottery with, for sure.
And was everybody like generally, had to work as a local hire within driving distance of the film? I know, Jesse, you had to drive 4 hours. We've had actors drive that long before too, but everybody was pretty much within driving distance.
Yeah, a lot. There was quite a couple from Cleveland area, somewhere Cincinnati, somewhere even closer to where we are at in Hamilton. But yeah, everyone was kind of Ohio, at least. Yeah.
There you go. He looks like he had like a little bit of comedy relief in him. I don't know if I'm reading him wrong, but
Bert.
Yeah,
Bert's there's some definite comedy relief,
I can
but
see that.
So with this whole process, and I always try to ask this because we have a lot of filmmakers and stuff that watch this. With this whole process, what would you say in particular for this film was the hardest part of the process? Whether it be casting, location, getting the funding, writing the material. What was the hardest process that you guys had to overcome to get this made?
You want to start, Brad?
Overwhelmingly, it's normally getting the funding. That's what it usually. I always like to ask.
I mean, I want to cheat and just say everything.
Oh, Jess, we don't care. We don't care.
Because me and Zach have we have the luck of everything going wrong. Step of the way. We had this like running joke for a while. Zach, you could explain it if you'd like, but anytime something went wrong, or we would always say the Joker strikes again.
Yeah. That was our saying that we always had. It was from some show or whatever, but it's like the Joker strikes again. So I'd always call him. He'd be at work and he'd be going, give me some good news. Because something would go wrong with planning or a cast member. We couldn't get casting right. And please give me good news.
Hello, David. We got you.
I'd have to tell Brad, Joker strikes again. We have another issue. So either it was budget stuff or casting. And
casting went smooth besides getting the part for Leanne. I think finding our Leanne was the hardest one to cast. Me and Zach, we had to put up multiple posts for that, and then I'll say it now. It's been a while, but like we had a completely different like idea in mind for Leanne. She was supposed to be older, a little bit more seasoned, and then Zach, had the idea of, because Jessica auditioned for another character in the film. Her name was Annie. And then Zach asked Jessica to audition for Leanne, and she sent that in, and we were both just so blown away by it. We're like, okay, we have to change Leanne. She has to be younger now. And because she nailed it. And I can't say enough great things about Jessica. Like, she really makes this film. She's incredible to work with. I think she put everybody in a good mood on set, even me and Zach when we wanted to strangle each other. But she's super professional, and I'm just honored to have gotten to work with her. And she wasn't kidding about like taking on the role, because there's times she'd have to walk away, and she's just really, I'd even ask her sometimes, like, what are you thinking about? Like, what's going on? Because she was just really, she really embodied the character, and I hope she gets everything she deserves from it.
Oh,
Good.
I love saying all those things about her as an actress, because when it comes to casting, you might have something in your mind, but then you'll have an actor or an actress that comes along and you see, you're like, there's something about this person. Let's have them read for this. And they do it in a way that you're like, that's how we're supposed to tell this story. And like, it's not even what you thought it was, but that actor brings so much to the role that you're like, that's it. And it sounds like that's what happened. So that's really cool. So I'm happy for both parties.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to your camera there, Jessica, but
I know. I think it's when I did this to Brad, I was like, maybe I need to
something
different.
Just keep doing that the whole time, and then you might come back.
It's like when you do thumbs up now. Like
oh yeah, all this stuff.
You're like, what? Yeah, I don't know how any of it works. I don't know.
David said you took care of everybody, so class acts there.
It's okay. Just hang yourself sideways.
Right, yeah.
No, you're fine. You can be sideways.
Okay.
All right. So now you guys, you said Brad and Zach, you said this was the first film you've actually shot together?
Yes. We've done little videos and stuff back in the day.
YouTube stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it was sort of a bucket list thing, I think, for me and him to do this together, because when we
you guys talked about back then.
Yeah, we had an English class together in high school, and we sat next to each other, and we got in trouble all the time for talking about movies and things and goofing around. And we always said one day we should make a movie together. And then when we, got out of school, Zach went more of the comedy route, and he had a YouTube channel called Knobber Productions, and he did a lot of comedic skits and things like that. And then I went off and made really cheesy, very low budget horror films. I did like a Friday the 13th fan film, and I did another film called The Monster Mash. And it was just, we were supposed to work on a movie project at some point, but things didn't work out. And then so we kind of got involved in our own life for a while, and we didn't talk for 10 years.
Over 10 years, yeah.
10 years. Wow.
It happens.
Yeah. And then I think I added him on Facebook, and I just joked with him like I did in high school, and it all just came back, and we started talking, and it sounds like a date, but then he invited me for ice cream at ice cream place called Flubs. And
I'm telling you, this is what the horror genre does. It brings everybody together.
It really does, yeah.
And we're having ice cream, and we're talking about things, and then that's when I went home, and I'm like, Zach's really talented. He's great at cinematography. I was like, we could really do something cool together if we get an idea. And I was wanting to kind of come back into music again, because I took a long break, and I called him wanting to do a music video. And I don't know, something in me was like, this is maybe the time to do it. We're not getting any younger. And I got off the phone with him, and like he said, I called him back and was like, how about a film? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I have a bullet point. I was like, well, what's the bullet point? And he's like, for right now, it's a 911 caller who receives calls from beyond the grave. And it's like, all right. And I thought it was a good little bullet point to work from. And then from then on, I'd say about once a week, we met up for coffee and just exchanged ideas together, and eventually kind of had a plot. And then Zach went with that, and then started working on the screenplay. And then I would then go over to his house, and we would just go through the script together, revising it, and, making changes to it. That was kind of where my horror background came in. Anytime he would do something that was a little too cliche, I'm like, no, we don't want to do that. That's been done in this movie. Let's change this a little bit.
Okay, so you love horror, Brad, and Zach, you love comedy. So my vote, because Ricky is my favorite subgenre of horror, is a horror comedy. So I encourage you guys to merge the minds. I challenge you to create a horror comedy somewhere down the road, maybe in the next few years, maybe another 10 years you'll do it. I don't know.
There's some comedy in here.
Yeah, I was going to say, I will say Choke does have some
little undertone.
Oh yeah. Like Zach mentioned earlier, we were heavily inspired by Twin Peaks, and a lot of the dispatch station scenes do have a lot of comedy. One scene in particular, I don't want to spoil it, is just so over the top, ridiculous that I don't see how anyone can't laugh at it. we had a hard time just filming it. But
I think that was the most important thing to us, actually, was the balance of, there's some horrendous stuff that happens in this film, and the subject matter is horrendous. And I felt like you have to balance that out. So there's an ebb and flow of like, you'll have this horrendous thing, and it's like, we got to bring people down a little bit from what just happened and what we.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually, because I will say, like, I'm always the one that's leaning more towards the darker stuff, and Zach's kind of the more lighthearted person out of us. And ironically, I think that's what made a really cool balance with this movie, because I think if it was just me, it would have been too dark, maybe a little too crazy. I don't know when to stop, and I think Zach pulls me away from that. And then sometimes Zach can be also very over the top in his own way, comedy. And I think it was the constant like balance that we had to work through that I think we brought the best out in each other.
Okay, Brad. So with that being said, what are some of your inspirations with horror films? What are some of your favorite movies? What you first watched growing up? What inspired you? Did you, have any little Easter eggs in this film from movies that you love?
Yes. Well, Jaws is definitely one of them. There's a bunch. I'm a huge John Carpenter fan. I think my favorite one of all time is The Shining. And I would say, I think Zach would agree with this. There's traces of The Shining and Twin Peaks, and even down to the music. I would say, like, I told Zach from the start, I was like, I want a John Carpenter-esque soundtrack for this movie, and I went for it, and I'm really happy with what came out of it. But yeah, in the film itself, there's all kinds of Easter eggs. There's one that, if you pay attention, is from the original Halloween. There's a car that appears in one scene of the movie that I might have done a little bit of a musical number from Christine. So there's all kinds of Easter eggs if you really zone in on it.
Well, the score, from what I heard, is really, really cool and enjoyable. So you might have a whole, thing right there if you market yourself for being available to score films. Because, Rick and I were always, we have different people that we reach out to based off of like their tone and what we've seen them do. But that could be a whole other level of supplemental income for you, just marketing yourself as, especially that you guys are finding this community in Ohio that you do offer that service. I don't know if it's something that you already do, but you might want to look into it, because the score sounds great from what I heard. There's a big market for that, especially with indie horror.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, this was all new to me. I had never composed a movie before, so I remember talking to Zach at the beginning of. And I said, this is something I want to try. I said, I want to do this. And, he was kind enough to let me kind of go crazy on it. And I was really happy when he finally got to hear parts of it, and he was really liking it. And, but yeah, it did open up something in me. I was always used to the, traditionally just playing in bands and making my own music and having an acoustic guitar and singing, and never thought I'd be doing something like Choke. But then I just kind of remembered all the horror films I loved growing up, and then made a bunch of. I feel sorry for my girlfriend, because she was hearing the creepiest noises with all the different things I was experimenting
Lullabies.
with. Yeah, like the neighbor too, probably. But it did wake up, it woke something up in me, and it's definitely something I want to pursue in the future. So
yeah, run with that, man. If that's something that you really enjoyed, I mean, run with it. There's a market for it.
Mm-hmm.
The comments. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm so sorry. You got.
I was going to say the comments we received the most coming out of the film. Like, people enjoyed the film, like the reception, but the music and Jessica's performance. Those were like the two things that stood out to me.
Very
like
nice.
they really stood out to people.
Now, speaking of screenings, I know you already showed this film, you already screened it, but did you guys end up doing the film festival circuit at all?
So when we finally, wrapped this thing up, we were down to the wire on these premieres to get we premiered it. The first one was in August for the private, and we did public in September. But by the time we had submitted it, a lot of those had gone by for the year, the deadlines. But so we're kind of looking at the spring ones that are like the deadlines for those
Yeah.
are in the spring. So we've already submitted to about a handful of those.
Very cool.
So looking forward to those. One of those was Horror Hound for the next
Yeah,
year.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's your neck of the woods, and you guys can do a screening there. And if they accept it, ask if you can do a panel.
Oh yeah,
I've done that before. Even before we had our film festival at MegaCon, I had a film that was accepted into the film festival. It was actually Rick's film festival before we started working together. But we're like, hey, can we do a panel here? And you just never know. So ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. You can bring in the cast and crew and do a screening and then be there to talk about it and take pictures. And you guys have all those cool posters. Why not put them to good use?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Now, I know you said also that you've got a physical media release coming out for it soon. Is that
Yes.
something you're doing yourself, or?
Yeah, so we are doing the physical release ourselves. Me and Brad are going to work on it, but we're excited about that because, like you said before, we're big fans of film and just seeing the behind the scenes and the process for all that. We have so much stuff that people haven't seen. The making of this film, I think it's going to be fun to put together to kind of show people from beginning to end. Like, how do you make a indie film? How does that look like? I kind of want to go that direction and show people that whole process, what it looked like, and talk about that. We're gonna have a commentary track. Jessica might join us
There you go,
for that on there, and we'll have a lot of bloopers. There's some bloopers and some extras and stuff we'll throw in. But yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah, there's plenty.
That's
one of my favorite stuff was the Jessica being a ghost in the woods. That was in.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we had some silly times on set.
One of the things I was going to mention when you were just talking about teaching people how to make movies and this and that, there's a filmmaker called Robert Rodriguez. He worked a lot with Quentin Tarantino. That's one of the things I love about his DVDs, because he always has those little sections. He calls them the 5-minute film school. And every movie is like he has a little 5 minutes where he's teaching you a different aspect of how he got his movie done at the low cost and stuff like that. And I love stuff like that. I eat stuff like that. That's great.
And those are things that you can talk about if you get to do a panel at Horror Hound. So definitely bring those points up, because I mean, the people there love hearing all the behind the scenes stuff and how did you make the film. But definitely when you guys get closer to, I know I mentioned this a few months ago, Zach, when you guys get closer to the release, message me. We'll keep in touch after the show. We'd love to do a write-up, a featured article on the film in our Indie Horror Junkie magazine to help you guys further promote this film and get the word out there, because it's people like you who are just like doing everything, and you are wearing multiple hats, and you're writing and directing and scoring and editing and acting, and like that's what we want to promote, the creatives out here that don't necessarily get the attention that they deserve, but they have a really good product and they have a really cool story to tell. So definitely we'll keep in touch. We'll make sure that we feature you guys in 2025.
Cool. We appreciate that.
I was gonna say, I really appreciate you guys. It's amazing what you do. I was listening to one of the podcasts today. I followed it already. I'm a fan, but I didn't get. I was at work, so I'm driving a forklift. But like, I was listening to the podcast, and I heard the trailer. I didn't get to see it, but I heard the trailer for the clock.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Listen, you guys talk about that, and that sounded really interesting. That was really, really cool.
That was a fun movie. That's actually the first project Rick and I ever did together. We filmed that back in 2023, spring of 23. And then we signed with Baby Entertainment for international distribution, and it's slowly coming out on different platforms. We just hit Amazon Prime, so shameless plug if you guys want to check it out. But
it'll be out on Blu-ray in January.
Nice.
Yeah, just like you guys get out there and go to these film festivals and go to these horror cons and network, because that's how you make those next connections. That's how you make those next steps. Howard, thank you so much. And Howard, by the way, we got to mention him. He was one of our he was the main zombie.
Nice profile pic there.
And
I was going to ask.
Say too much, but he was a main featured zombie in The Turning, and you can see he's got a juicy little bite there. He's
a good-looking zombie.
Yeah, he looked great. He showed up to set. I was like, "Are you joking me? You look amazing." His daughter did his makeup, and he showed up, and he looked fantastic. And I was like, you're going to be the one who bites the lead actor's arm.
Yeah.
Close up of that face. And he showed up. I mean, he did such a good job. He was ready to go. And it's cool because we know him through Indie Horror Junkie. He is someone who has been a supporter of our podcast and magazine since we started. He's always watching the show. And then we did like an open casting call, like, hey, we need zombies for our film. And he showed up and looked incredible. So he has a really cool shot. Like, he stole the whole scene. So we love Howard. We're thankful for him. And he does he makes props for movies as well. So anybody wants to head over to his Facebook page, he makes props for films. He actually gave Rick and I these cute little skulls he brought to set. He brought like this gorgeous hand poured skull candle. I told you, Howard, I was going to put it in my bathroom, and I did. It's on display. I can't even burn it. It's so beautiful. And he made these cool keychains. He did. Howard's great. Another lover of indie horror, but that's why we love this brand, because you just meet so many different people, and you get to network, and you get to expand, and then you just end up working with people. I met Rick at a film festival. We were at a film festival, just to watch, films that were at the Tampa Bay Underground Film Festival, which is not just all horror, it's all genres, but we connected there. And then he's like, hey, I got the script for The Clock. He like messaged me maybe like 3 months later, and I read it, and I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And the rest is history. And then we realized that we had the same mental illness. And now here we are with the Indie Horror Junkie brand.
It's a fun scene because, I mean, with indie horror, you kind of have, I mean, you can go in crazy different directions.
Yeah.
It's so creative, and you can get wacky with it. And there is some wacky stuff in joke. Like, things can get weird. You can go off and let your creative mind.
They do get weird.
But one of the things I wanted to touch on when you guys were talking about in your film about having little throwbacks and little Easter eggs and stuff to other movies and this and that, for the short film that we just did, the Turning, we actually shot at this guy's studio called Dog Poop Studios, and he has this car outside right here.
Yeah.
We weren't going to put that car in the movie, but after he told me where that car was from, I'm like, I had to develop a little something there, because that's a Rolls Royce basically, okay? And that car is actually the Rolls Royce that was actually used in the movie Back to the Future. That's the one that Marty McFly was going to hit that messed his hand up and everything. They actually bought that car. So once he told me that, I've got to get some Back to the Future DNA in my movie.
Yeah.
We ended up
right in those exterior shots, Rick.
But I love little things like that, putting little Easter eggs and stuff. To me, sometimes they're just for me. But if I like also finding out if other people catch it, hey, is that this, or did that come from that? It's always good. That's like water cooler talk, Get people talking.
Right.
We have a couple minutes left, you guys. I definitely want to plug you on socials. I want everybody to follow you, follow the film. So you guys are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Choke Film. Where else can we find you guys and follow your work?
I was going to say, for me, it's pretty easy. It's Brad Huffman on Instagram, Facebook, Spotify, Apple Music, any music platform that you have.
I'm definitely going to check out some of your music on
the Choke score is on there too. So
nice.
Okay. I'm a big fan of just listening to movie or TV series scores in my car.
I am too. And like, and then today was the 2024 wrap up for everybody, like on Spotify and stuff. And most of my music listening was soundtracks.
Yeah, it's good stuff. What about you, Jessica?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. It's just at Jessica Lynn Buck. And Facebook, I'll post some stuff too, just Jessica Buck. But yeah, that's about it for me. I mainly use Instagram and then IMDb, of course.
Yeah, keep with all your acting, definitely.
Yeah, I just want to say too, Brad's score is incredible. I just have to reiterate it a million times because it is incredible. I had so many friends that came to the premiere and they could not stop raving about it. And so yeah, please give it a listen when you can.
I'm telling you, and you guys watch that trailer again. It caught my attention right away. And then I watched it through and I was like, I got to go back and hear that again. I played it back like 3 times. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And then what about you, Zach?
Thank you so much. You're too sweet.
No, it's good. I love a good score. I'm telling you, you got to monetize on that. It's good stuff.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Keep going.
Yeah, you can catch me on Facebook, Instagram. I think my Instagram is the Zach Pike, but Facebook, Zach Pike, and I'm on IMDb as well. And I wanted to say the Choke is on IMDb too, but those are the main hangouts for me.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. If you don't mind, what we're going to do, we'll take you off stage here real quick. Amy and I'll close the show real quick, and then we'll come back so we can chat with you a little bit offline, okay?
Thank you guys so much. Happy to finally get you on the show and promote this film, and whatever you got going on, let the Junkies get it out there for you.
Absolutely.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
we'll talk to you in just a minute.
Guys, appreciate what you do.
Absolutely.
You got
Thank you.
it.
All right. Yeah, I can't wait to see that movie now. I mean, like you
I
said,
know.
and the score caught my eye or caught my ear just from the trailer. So I'm definitely going to be looking forward for that one. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think we got everything. We had a couple last little thank yous and stuff like that there from Howard. Of course, thank you, Howard, for everything you've done.
I saw
thank
Doug
you, David.
pop on, and David, thank you. Can't wait to see you in the film.
Absolutely. All right. So I guess let's go ahead and close the show. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight.
Yeah,
and,
we'll see you next week. We have the cast from Mutilator 2 with some of the original Mutilator cast next week on December 11th. So you definitely don't want to miss that show. We'll see you then.
All right. Bye-bye now. See you next Wednesday.